We are now less than 24 hours until the start of the Steel Ball Run anime, but ahead of its release, the animation director, Yasuhiro Kimura, was featured in an exclusive interview talking all about how his team went about bringing this original masterpiece to life, and touches on how this adaptation will differ from the previous seasons, as well as some of the influences they drew from. So Kimura had previously directed the adaptation of JoJo Part 5 Golden Wind, and the first question asked was, how does working on Steel Ball Run compare to Golden Wind? Kimura boldly says that the buddy dynamic between Johnny and Gyro was above all for this project, and they tried to avoid cutting their interactions as much as possible, and brings up how in Part 5 we never really had time to breathe, and even when the characters tried to eat a meal, they would be attacked. But for Steel Ball Run, it says that he wants the story to be able to slow down and capture the road trip atmosphere even more so than the original work, and says that he wants to add more scenes to do so, like when Johnny and Gyro are camping, for example. And I love this approach so much. If you caught my Steel Ball Run wishlist video, I specifically said that I hope they don't cut those little scenes and expressed how important the downtime is to the Johnny and Gyro dynamic. And then the follow-up question asks about the difference in approach between parts 5 and 7. Kimura says that Golden Wind was originally published in a shonen magazine, but Steel Ball Run had moved over to a seinen magazine during publication, which is for young adults rather than children. So for Steel Ball Run, he wants to capture a more mature tone to reflect the themes of the original story, but also didn't want to alienate existing fans. So part of this project was a balancing act between two atmospheres, and says that one example of this new direction is that the onomatopoeia, which is the sound effects that pop up on screen like a comic book, have been toned down quite a lot for this part. So I could see how some fans might not like this since the effects are an iconic aspect of JoJo's visuals, but if you compare the episode to episode tone of something like Stardust to Steel Ball Run, Part 3 is pretty campy, and Part 7 is an evolution of the series towards more mature subject matter and writing, so I think that's a smart move to consider that shift within the anime as well, and let it be more mature and serious when it needs to be. The next topic asks Kimura what's something new he's learned from his time working on other projects and if he'll be using them for Steel Ball Run. Kimura says that he started using more 3D CGI and took a lot of studying to get down, but is now able to make cuts himself just using the techniques he's learned. And it was from directing the anime 2.43 CN High School Boys Volleyball Team that he learned an animation technique for spinning the volleyball that is the same technique he used for Gyro's Steel Ball, and says that he feels like everything he's learned in his career has led to what we'll see in Steel Ball Run. We then get into the team's influences, with the interviewer asking, the manga is seemingly influenced by the old American Western films set in the late 1800s. Does this anime have the same influences? Are there any other media that have influenced the team? Kimura says that he's not exactly referencing any films during production, but in the lead-up had watched the film Far and Away, which is a romantic western starring Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman and a lot of horses. But says most of all, he watched the Red Dead Redemption 2 trailer over and over again, and played a bit of the game. Continuing on to say that he thought the coloring was really interesting, the contrast between the red and the black, and the sinking sun at twilight, and specifically says that the red and black color contrast and silhouettes was something that he wanted to bring to Steel Ball Run. So the recent fan opening by Nico and Vedas was pretty much spot on for the director's vision, and I wonder, since we really didn't see that Red Dead style in the trailer, besides Gyro's duel, if that will be in the official opening at all. But that's really cool to see that the team is actually drawing influence from not just classic westerns, but also some contemporary work and video games nonetheless. And in the final questions, Kimura was asked what he's most excited for people to see in the first episode, without spoilers of course, and says that he wanted to emphasize the actual race aspect of Steel Ball Run. So he made sure that the race was always top of mind and wanted the audience to feel like they were watching a real life race, complete with the runner's emotions and the live exciting commentary, and that the final scene specifically, the whole team worked on very hard and he's excited for everyone to see it. And at the end of the interview, Kimura says that the team is continuing to do their best to make this series the best it can be, and that their fuel to keep going is everyone's reactions to the show, so please continue to show them support. And I will have the full interview link down below if you want to read more. So I hope that gets everyone fired up for this monumental premiere of Part 7, and stay tuned on the channel for a whole bunch of new content as we enter a new era of JoJo.